How can you support your father? How do you support him moving forward?
Major developments tonight involving the case against Sean Diddy Combs, what he decided in court today, and what this now means, the move coming just 4 days before his trial is set to begin. Here's Aaron Katursky.
And when the judge did, Diddy, who was sitting at the defense table with his attorneys, did not show any signs of emotion. He took a sip of water before he was led out of the courtroom by the U.S. Marshals. Now, his lawyers have vowed to fight this. They are going to be back in court on Wednesday before the judge who will oversee this trial and try to get Diddy to be released.
Bill and Sade, accepting a plea agreement would mean that Sean Combs would have to admit to trafficking and force. And today he made it very clear that was not going to happen. Diddy maintained all along these encounters involved consenting adults and plans to take his chances that a jury agreed.
He's going to be truthful about this case because he wants to portray that to the people who have loved him his whole life. And I think he also feels an obligation to people in general. Maybe it's Black people, maybe it's white people, maybe it's anybody who's ever felt aggrieved and targeted by the government. He feels an obligation to those people to say, you know what, maybe I can break the model. Maybe I can show the world that a Black man can win, in federal court. And I think he probably is the only person I know of who might be able to actually accomplish.
Last hearing before Sean Combs' trial starts, when he walked into federal court today, he appeared to be looking for his family. They've pretty much been at all of the hearings that I've been to, but there was no presence of his sons or his mother or his sister who had previously been.
What if I told you that the music empire that once shaped a generation is now crumbling from the inside, ripped apart not just by scandal, but by betrayal? That's right. Diddy, the iconic music mogul who built Bad Boy Records into a cultural powerhouse, is now fighting for his life in a courtroom. The charges he faces are so serious, they could erase everything he's built. But this isn't just another celebrity downfall. This is a family tragedy, because standing against him isn't just the prosecutors. It's his own flesh and blood. His eldest son, Christian Combs, the very son he raised in wealth, fame, and love, is now the star witness, a son torn between loyalty to his father and the promise of freedom. So how did we get here? How did the king of bad boy become trapped in a nightmare of his own making? What if this betrayal wasn't spontaneous, but planned, calculated, and now threatens to destroy not only Diddy's career, but his entire legacy? This rabbit hole runs deep, and it all starts with a betrayal so shocking, it left even Diddy's closest allies in silence.
How can you support your father? How do you support him moving forward?
They say the deepest wounds come from those closest to us. And for Diddy, that wound has a name: Christian Combs, his eldest son. The same young man who once stood proudly by his side at award shows, smiled alongside him on red carpets, and followed in his footsteps into the music industry. To the world, Christian was Diddy's heir. But behind the scenes, he was something else entirely: an informant. Leaked documents reveal the unthinkable. Christian is now cooperating with federal prosecutors. And this isn't just casual testimony. This is a deal that could bring down the empire his father spent decades building. A sealed memo, never meant to see the light of day, shows Christian possesses critical knowledge about Diddy's secretive parties, luxury jets, and the hush money allegedly used to silence guests. But why would a son betray his own father? Was he threatened? Promised immunity? Or did he simply see an escape from a world built on shadows and secrets? Diddy's legal team was quick to condemn the government, accusing them of weaponizing family ties. But the damage was done, and the real question remained: how did a once-tight father-son bond become so toxic? It all started with a midnight raid that shattered everything. What was supposed to be just another quiet night exploded into chaos as Homeland Security agents swarmed Diddy's lavish mansions in both Los Angeles and Miami. Their orders were clear: seize everything: phones, laptops, financial records, anything that could tie Diddy to a web of scandal. But the biggest shock wasn't the raid, it was what they found. Agents recovered 14 devices, packed with father-son conversations, private messages, and voice notes. Prosecutors now claim those messages are the key to exposing a hidden empire, and at the center of it all, Christian, once the beloved son. Now, the possible key witness. Was he pressured into flipping? Or did he willingly turn on his father to protect himself? Theories spread like wildfire. Diddy's team insists it was a setup, a tactic to manipulate Christian. But the truth might be darker than anyone imagined, because those seized devices didn't just contain family drama. They held evidence of parties that went far beyond the glitz and glamour. Just how deep did those parties go? You're about to find out.
B, he's going to be truthful about this case because he wants to portray that to the people who have loved him his whole life. And I think he also feels an obligation to people in general. Maybe it's Black people, maybe it's white people, maybe it's anybody who's ever felt aggrieved and targeted by the government. He feels an obligation to those people to say, you know what, maybe I can break the model. Maybe I can show the world that a Black man can win, in federal court. And I think he probably is the only person I know of who might be able to actually accomplish.
For years, Diddy's parties were the stuff of legend. Hamptons mansions, Miami yachts, private islands, exclusive gatherings where only the rich, powerful, and famous were allowed behind the velvet rope. Celebrities, CEOs, and even political figures mingled in private, far from the eyes of the public. But what if those parties weren't just about champagne and stardom? Prosecutors claim they were something far more sinister. According to the indictment, those glamorous nights were cover for illegal activities, recruitment grounds for trafficking and exploitation. The industry was rocked. And at the center of the storm? Christian Combs. Leaked messages show Diddy's eldest son managing jet schedules, curating guest lists, and overseeing payments. To the public, he was just Diddy's son, but to federal agents, he was the gatekeeper of a hidden empire. Diddy's legal team fired back, calling the allegations pure fiction, claiming these were nothing more than extravagant industry events, and if anything illegal happened, it was the work of outsiders. But the evidence didn't stop, and neither did the betrayal, because prosecutors weren't done with Christian. They began targeting others in the Combs family. Betrayal spreads like poison, and in the Combs household, it had only just begun. Investigators reportedly reached out to Justin Combs and Quincy Brown. Would they, too, be forced to choose between blood and freedom? Rumors of secret meetings and behind-the-scenes pressure swept through the entertainment world. Christian, now branded a traitor by some, was stuck between his father's legacy and the weight of the law. Some in the Black entertainment community hailed him as a brave whistleblower. Others saw him as a Judas. And just as the courtroom drama ignited, another name kept surfacing: 50 Cent. Never one to stay silent, 50 Cent began fanning the flames, posting cryptic messages on social media, hinting that he had documents capable of blowing the case wide open. Was it a stunt? Or did he know something the world didn't? As the family crumbled, the courtroom battle began. The courthouse was packed. Cameras flashed, reporters filled the hallways, and at the center stood Diddy, calm, composed, but clearly cornered. Federal prosecutors wasted no time. They laid out the evidence: secret texts, encrypted messages, private jet logs, all pointing to a shadow network of illicit deals. Diddy's lawyers fought back, claiming it was a witch hunt, an orchestrated attempt to turn son against father. But Christian's name appeared everywhere. On payment records, yacht rentals, and even luxury event invoices. And then came the financial bombshell. Prosecutors revealed that over $74 million had been funneled through 17 shell companies, companies tied directly to Diddy: luxury jets, 5-star yachts, private villas in the Hamptons. Not just signs of wealth, but evidence of a meticulously hidden operation. Christian's name was there too, signing off on expenses, organizing logistics, and managing costs. His role wasn't peripheral anymore, it was central. Diddy's team claimed these were standard business transactions. Prosecutors said otherwise. This wasn't luxury, it was laundering. And while the court debated legality, the real damage was happening outside. Diddy's reputation was unraveling, fast. The media turned savage. Social media erupted. Celebrities once seen dancing beside him on VIP couches now avoided his calls. Brand deals dissolved. Liquor distributors backed out. Marketing campaigns were shelved. Even his music saw a spike in streams, not from nostalgia, but curiosity. Fans were trying to understand the man behind the empire. Hashtags like "I'll protect King Combs" and "Diddy exposed" exploded across platforms. Some saw Christian as a brave truth-teller, others as a traitor. Heated debates spread across fan pages, gossip, blogs, and celebrity forums. And 50 Cent? He kept the pressure on, dropping hints of explosive files that could allegedly bury Diddy for good. But this wasn't just a social media frenzy, it was a cultural earthquake. Paparazzi staked out Diddy's mansion. Journalists chased down Christian's friends and family. Every tweet, every leak, every whisper became headline news. And at the heart of it all, Christian Combs. As the trial reached its peak, tension gripped the courtroom. Supporters lined the streets, some holding signs saying, "Justice for Christian," others chanting, "Diddy forever." Inside, the air was thick with anticipation. Christian walked to the witness stand. Diddy sat motionless, his face unreadable. His lawyers made a last-ditch attempt to block the testimony, calling Christian a manipulated pawn, but the judge allowed it. And then, the words that shattered the room. "I never wanted this." But the truth needs to be told. Gasps filled the courtroom. Diddy's eyes flickered. Pain, anger, regret. Christian's voice stayed firm. He spoke of threats, hidden deals, and dark secrets behind closed doors. The courtroom fell silent, hanging on every word. Diddy's empire wasn't just under fire, it was being dismantled piece by piece. And yet the final question remains. Is Christian a hero for speaking out, or the ultimate betrayer? In a world where fame is power and loyalty is currency, Diddy's kingdom is crumbling, and his son may be the one holding the match. What began as a story of success, of a self-made mogul who built an empire, has now become a modern-day tragedy, riddled with betrayal, scandal, and broken bloodlines. Diddy, once the king of the music world, now finds himself fighting not for fame, but for freedom. Christian, once the crown prince, now stands divided, seen by some as a savior and others as a snake. And just when you think it's over, it's not. Because whispers are turning into roars. More accusers, more lawsuits, more secrets threatening to surface. But what if I told you Diddy's not the only music icon facing family betrayal? There's another legend, another empire, and its darkest secrets are about to explode. Stay tuned, because this story is far from over.